It's D-Day. I'm a little nervous. I wish I could be right behind him. The day that the Dora Lynn gets taken up the road to the crab lot.
Bro, that's...
I can't even lie. So one of the really cool features about work boats, they have what's called a panic room. You can just go in it. And then usually I panic about everything that I haven't got done. It's not bad. There's shade, spiders. They usually smell like panic. We're gonna try to cut all these new floor joists, but I wanna drop the floor down a little bit to the chine where the side of the boat turns into the bottom of the boat. I want this boat to have a ceiling in it as low as possible so that when people get in the boat, you don't have to step up any higher than you have to. I'm glad I bought a couple extra boards. I know I'm gonna screw this up. I'm no carpenter, I'm no framer. It looks like it makes sense, I guess. So instead of the floor joist going up to here, I'm just gonna have it right here. So I guess I'm just gonna pull this and then put this angle at the top and then scribe the angle all the way down the 2x6. They're all a little different, which means I sort of have templates to use. I've numbered them. I'm just gonna start pulling these. The cool thing about crab boats, they're not really built like super elegant, fine pieces of art when it comes to the ceiling. The rest of the boat is definitely a piece of art, but when it comes to just putting a deck in it, pretty basic. 16 on center, kind of like framing a shed. I will say it's actually sort of impressive that this thing held together as well as it did. It's held together better than most marriages, I guess. I may seem a little frantic in these videos, and that's because I'm a little frantic, because I have a lot to do. It's March. I have to get this entire boat done. I have to put together that other boat, the Southern Girl get ready to work, fix the Weebo up, 1,000 crab pots to get zinced and put together. I'm having trouble getting excess help here to help me zinc crab pots and all that kind of stuff. Finally rallying the guys. It's on me for not trying to get them together sooner. My lumber is not as dry as I'd like, but it's drier than it was before, I guess. I don't really have 3 weeks to let this sit out. Look at that. That's awful. Problem is it's on 2 planes. It's like that, and I'm not doing any compound miter crap here. I'm just gonna jam it back in there. The benefit is that this boat doesn't have to float any longer, so I can just like screw into the bottom. It doesn't matter. It's gonna make my life a lot easier. We'll take 2. It's sort of working. I cut that notch. I was almost there, but I'm getting closer to figuring out how to do this. Take 3. Still sucks, but we're getting a little closer. Measure there. We got the angle here. We can transfer that onto the stud. That's not right at all. That's money, dude. That's money. I think that's money. That's a lot of angle, but that's okay. We'll see if this one worked. All right, not bad. And that's okay, because what I'm gonna do is just cut blocking like this. I'm gonna stick this here, toe nail it to the bilge board, whatever the heck they call that. Screw that there, scribe it, cut that, and she'll be ready to go. Put one in the middle. Better than I expected so far. I got 1 down. I think I got like 13 more to go. Just have a lot of time to think. You know, I'm at a point in my life where I've been busting my butt crabbing for the last 9 years, really giving it my all. Finally have opportunities that I can seize. And I'm just now in the past couple years really starting to see my hard work starting to pay off. There's a lot of risk that I could take on in terms of everything, business and everything else going on. I'm tired of not doing things just because I'm scared to do it. I spent most of my life scared to do anything, but nobody that sat around scared ever did anything great. Finally starting to see my work pay off. I think it's time for me to really do some great things and take some risk. You're only young once. I don't have kids. I know that changes everything, so I hear. So I think this is my time. I'm tired of saying it never happened because I never even tried when I had the opportunity. It's time for me to take life by the horns. At least I can say I gave it a shot. I think chainsaws are an underused tool. I think they ought to be standard. They should teach you how to use a chainsaw in school. That pretty much explains this whole process. Good enough for government work. It ain't government work because we're actually working. Now I gotta rebuild this thing. It's where the engine bedding goes. I can't remember what they call it, but it's totally destroyed. Probably gonna pull it out, try to scribe it, and build another one. I put it together like Legos and traced it onto here. I'm gonna cut this out and then try to test fit this one, and if this works, then I'll just lay this one on the other 2x12 and cut this out. This thing is awesome. What made that cut so true? I was just some bad with a circular saw. Really? You did that? Yeah. That is amazing. Some creosote. This is a piece of board actually that came from the harbor. Probably floated off some pier. This board is honestly probably period correct to the boat. Creosote's what they used to make telephone poles out of, so it's like impregnated with tar. It's some really terrible stuff. Do not recommend cutting. Out with the old, in with the new. The new is probably just as old, if not older, than the actual piece of wood. Actually fits pretty nice. And look at that. It's even like period correct. Doesn't look bad. And it's pretty level. It's on the same plane. I'm actually impressed that I managed to put this all in without major disaster. Phase 2, now I need to get a floor in it, or ceiling, or a deck, or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm actually gonna use deck boards. Easy clean, tough, stands up to walk in, and all the thousands of customers I'm gonna have come through. It's a lot of very heavy deck boards, 55 of them to be exact. Pretty much my biggest issue is I just get like very distracted by like everything all the time, which I think has actually helped me out in my life a lot because I can't sit still. Sort of a deceptively tricky task. That's why I can't have nice stuff.
You got one more stick to put in the middle there?
I'm just trying to pre-work all my boards so nothing is straight, you know?
Yeah, damn, that's a lot of wood. You're gonna have a few extras.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna screw up at least 2, so. Every plan has to have a certain amount of potential self-sabotage cooked into it, you know what I mean? Some of these are 3 times the weight.
Yeah.
I've never built a deck before. I've used plywood to build floors, which is probably what I should have done, but it's too late now because I jumped the gun, started having a panic attack because I wasn't getting enough done the other day, so I bought lumber to make myself feel like I got something more done. The first board's just the hardest. I'm just gonna have to like commit and just do it. Pay for it later when I screw it all up and have to tear half the deck out. All right, well, I want to lay this board, right? What are the tools I need? There's a couple in the front of the boat, there's a couple in the back of the boat, but I'm gonna start in the back, so I'm gonna walk up to the front of the boat, but what else do I need while I'm up here? Is there anything I need to do while I'm in the front of the boat so I don't have to slip and fall on my way back? Back here, and I realize, oh, I've forgot something, so I get down out of the boat, and I go to the truck, and I think, well, is there anything else I'm gonna need out of the truck? Can't find in the truck, go in the shop, try to find the tool, come up here, climb up the thing, get down here, realize I forgot something stupid like safety glasses, and I can't remember where I was here, and then I go to cut that, and I can't commit to cutting it because I need to take more measurements, and I realize I haven't brought my safety glasses up into the boat, so I go find them and I can't find them. Then I get frustrated, go to cut it, and then realize that I need the extension cord, and then the breaker's blown, so I go put the freaking breaker, and I go to cut the thing, and then I'm paralyzed by like anxiety about 10 other things I need to get done, or my phone goes off, oh, I'm thirsty, or oh, I need to pee, or oh, I'm kind of hungry. Literally, I'll have days where I can get 2 times normal person's work done in one day. Then I have other days where I get negative things done, and all I did was run around and have a freaking panic attack. But some days it's crippling, or I'm on fire and burn the whole thing up. Let's try these, because I forgot the drill. Not made for that, or that hurt like a bit. Oh, I didn't think of this before. Once again, chainsaw, very underrated tool. Well, we're committed now because I've now rendered the boat completely useless. No longer considered a boat. It took me a little while to get started, but it's looking good. I got pretty much all the deck boards down. I figured out a pattern. I'm just now getting it all covered in nasty bilge grease. I'm liking what it's looking like so far. I'm not really sure how to do this, but I'm gonna try a method that somebody was telling me about yesterday, but then I kind of forgot. Oh shoot, I need a hammer. Oh shoot. This is not the best hammer I've ever used. Bendy piece of metal here. What the heck? Why does it bend in like that? This does not look like it's gonna work at all. It really looks awful. I bought extra boards because I don't know what I'm doing. Moment of truth, this does not look like it's even remotely close. It looks absolutely terrible. Well, I screwed that all up. It's not gonna work at all. I'm having a terrible time with this. It doesn't make any sense. 12 1/4, 12 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 1/2, 16. This is big brain activity. This is not for crabbers. Take 2. Freaking phone call. Every time I get doing something, I get a phone call. Hello? Not bad. This job has made my favorite tool a chainsaw. I know this is a little weenie one. I really want to get a nice gas one that I can use at my house more. If you guys have chainsaw suggestions, let me know. And what's your favorite woodworking tool? Mine's a hammer. That's pretty dang good. That fits like a freaking glove. I may need to cut just a little out. I cut that out with a pocket knife a bit. Fine woodworking here. So they gotta be a little notched on this end because as the boat curves, these are square, so the angle sticks a little bit. It's very hard for me to explain, but I know what it's doing in my head. Just know when you come to buy crabs, this was handcrafted by a real artisan. Actually, this thing was handcrafted by underpaid Asian labor, just like most of the things from Amazon. Like a glove, boy. I just gotta make like 10 more of these. That's gonna suck. There's gotta be an easier way to do this. Well, I know there's a better way to do this, but I don't know how to do it. So that doesn't look too bad to me. That was far complicated than I was anticipating, but one down, like, man, like 6 more. Total, but I was just kind of like ordering some like ridiculous stuff that I was like, man, this would be super cool if they sent it. I don't know if they're gonna send it or not. I think they may have sent it all, actually, which is gonna be pretty cool. There's just one thing in particular I'm looking for that I'm hoping they did send, but we'll see. If they did, thank you, Total Boat. I've always wanted one. Okay, let's see what they sent. Is this what I think it is? Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. Thank you, Total Boat. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think you were actually gonna send this. This was a Hail Mary, but it's a resin mixer. Instructions, we don't need that. Ooh, look at this. I didn't even ask for this, but they sent it. Oh, it's silica. A bunch of mixing cups. We're cooking now. Hardener, fast hardener, slow hardener, waxing surface prep, cups, penetrating epoxy. I'm not even sure what that is.
Penetrating epoxy is for getting into hardening up rotten wood.
Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we need. 1 part polyurethane topside paint. Beautiful. Fairing tools. I don't have any excuses not to take on this part of the project. Looks like a lot of work. Thank you, Total Boat. I appreciate you sending everything that I requested, even though it was a little ridiculous. Shout out Total Boat. Now Sai can maybe finish fixing the rust on the Subaru. Pro fiberglass over duct tape on the Subaru. That's pretty mint. I gotta cut roof joists or whatever they are. I don't want them flat because I don't want water to sit on it, so I'm gonna cut like a bow, try to replicate it.
So mark it at 3 feet, 6 feet, and 9 feet. It's gonna be 4 inches thick. We're gonna go in 3 at that end. Let's go into 2 at here. Put it on that side of the end one. Doesn't look that bad, does it?
Pretty slick.
All right. Once you mark that line.
Pretty.
You happy with that?
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
You'll just cut that one and use it as your pattern, right? But you only want the saw set no deeper than it has to be.
Right. That's not my dad, by the way. Everybody thinks that's my dad. He owns the marina, but very, very close friend. Very knowledgeable guy. Knows pretty much everything about everything. Built boats, you name it. He builds the trash wheels too. He invented the trash wheels, actually. Cool guy. Get a lot of crap from you guys for not wearing safety glasses. Rightfully so. But my issue with standard safety glasses is I have this big square Asian face. Your average ones sit on my super high cheekbones and then they fog up and I literally can't see anything. So I found these, and these are like the ugliest things I've ever seen. But I tell you what, they don't fog up and they're gonna keep me from losing an eye. So you say what you want, I'm gonna wear them, all right? Oddly enough, I've never been that hot with a circular saw. This is also not a straight line, but that's why they call it a circular saw, right? I gotta get rid of these. These are nothing but dangerous here. Strings. That'd be getting caught in your circular saw. I can't believe that I didn't cut those off earlier. All right, take 4. Pretty work. The key is to screw up the template, so then when you cut all the rest of them, they're all wrong. 12 more to cut. Finally finished putting a new floor in the boat. This thing's freaking huge. Honestly, kind of cool. It's a lot better than I was expecting it to be. And look at that thing. That looks pretty good. It's solid. Got all these fancy little pieces cut around the sides. I wanted you to be able to see, you know, all the boards and everything as well. I think it looks pretty good. I've always wondered kind of like what would my boat look like if it didn't have a motor box. I guess this is kind of it. Giant. So when you pull a wood boat out of water, it really starts to kind of come apart, especially after a couple weeks. And it's not like totally abnormal. It's definitely an issue. As you know, wood swells when it gets wet. So basically wood boats like this are meant to kind of live in the water like forever, just regular maintenance. But when you start to pull it out, look at these gaps. All the wood starts to shrink back up. This boat would leak terribly if you tried to put it back in the water right now. I mean, look at that. You can see straight through these planks that you couldn't before. When this boat was in the water, these were watertight, actually. All 13 of the rafters are cut, and those will go on top of the rest of this crap that I'm gonna build. Now I gotta cut the posts. So I have 8 of these, 4 for each side. I'm just gonna go for it. I don't really know what I'm doing. All right, not too terrible, except for the fact that I cut it just a little too deep. Oh God, by a lot. I'll fix it. Knew I should have bought this. Now I gotta figure out how to place these things. Part of the issue is I don't really have near as much of a plan as you probably think I do. Every next step seems to kind of just reveal itself. We're winging it, we're winging it. Well, you remember how I talked about making a template and then making the rest of them wrong? Well, I once again forgot to account for the fact that I'm the size of a middle schooler, like 5'7" on my license, which means I'm really like 5'6" because I lied a little bit. So I made the roof, I was like, oh, it's plenty tall for me. Putting it together, I'm measuring it and like, oh, wait a second. Most people are like 6 inches taller than I am. Men, women, and children. I may have made a mistake. I mean, they're not that bad, really, but it's only 6.5 feet. There's a lot of people that are 6.5 feet tall, which I did not account for, because that's like a foot taller than I am. I don't want people to hit their heads, and that was such a stupid mistake, because I cut them off, and it would have been so much easier to just make them a little bit taller. I mixed up one of the measurements, and I made one of them, the first one I made right, and then I thought, oh no, I did it wrong. But in reality, I did a different step wrong, and then I corrected on the other step that I did correctly. So I guess this means more creative solutions to stupid problems that I've created for myself. Boy, that thing is an interesting custom job there.
It's made of ramen.
Yeah, ramen and super glue. This is like if you took every 5-minute craft ever made and turned it into a boat. The penetrator. Did you put the plug in?
Oh, yep. Got enough location.
There you go. Don't worry, guys, I'll watch.
Done it.
That thing looks fast, dude. Looks like you're about to penetrate the speed of light.
That's a Jedi fighter. All right, Luke Skywalker, let's see what you got.
So Sai's been working on this creation for years now. It's a custom fiberglass speedboat. I guess it kind of works. Huh, well, guess it didn't go that well. Getting towed back. Coming back on the string. Now we got brackets.
Let's flip it over.
Carriage bolts.
Kind of works. I will admit that I underestimated the amount of work this would be. I thought this would be pretty easy. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. It's not too bad. Important that when you're doing anything that has to do with rafters or roofs, you wait till like the windiest day of the year. Probably should have taken these hoses out because I probably could use them on something else, but I kind of forgot. Now it's going to be a real pain since I put these in. I guess if I need them, I'll come get them. Looks like one of those like garden things where they plant the vines. I think I'm going to start renting this place out for a wedding venue. Might be one of the nicer wedding venues in Glen Burnie, honestly. This is actually kind of a cool part of the project because you can really start to see it actually take shape. The fact that it has a roof, or most of a roof, still needs the top. It's really something. Floor, roof joists are in, these big carriage bolts. This is my mess up that took me a half a day to solve. Supports, hurricane ties, and I tell you what, it's actually super solid. It's probably more solid than the roof on the Southern Girl over there, but it's starting to take shape.
Put your finger under the cotton right here, and then you tuck it until it's tight in the seam, and you'll tuck one tuck underneath each other until you get a nice tight thing. And then once you do that, you come back over it and you roll your mallet. This is called a caulking iron. You roll your iron as you're hitting it to seat that cotton tight between the planks. If it's done right, it actually tightens the whole boat up.
So that's what they use to seal wooden boats.
And you can tell by the tone of the mallet that you're getting even pressure. See, hear that? That's hollow there. That's not as tight as it is here. Hear the difference? Mm-hmm. You don't want tight and loose sections if you're doing it for water tightness, because if you have a tight section, when it swells, it's going to hold that further apart than the loose section, and you'll have a spot where the water wants to come in because it's not as sealed up. But we're just doing it to save on putty, and this boat's really not going back in the water, is you take a small paintbrush and paint that cotton, and you paint it with latex paint. That latex paint is going to sort of rubberize the cotton and create a seal. And then on top of that, you're going to put a seam compound to make it nice and fair so that you don't see the grooves in the thing, and also to, again, add an additional layer of water tightness to it. There aren't many people around anymore who caulk wooden boats, but
I can see why.
yeah, it's tedious as hell.
Take you a long time. Looks like you've rolled miles though.
Yeah, I've done miles and miles.
And if you think fiberglass boats are a lot of work, wood boats are 10 times the work. And by the time you get done fixing one thing, you got to start back at the other end, start fixing it again.
That's absolutely right. Wooden boat isn't taking on water, probably on land.
Shoot, this boat was pumping water out of it on land.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So now you're getting the feel of it.
Yeah, I can hear it. Hear it sounds solid now.
Gently pull a section of that stuff out. Okay, there you got a nice worm coming out. And just take that worm and just roll it between your palms a few times. Just gently roll it like that. And that's just sort of makes it all uniform. Go a little bit further past where you just ended and just give it a nice little hard tuck there to start it. Now just hold your iron like I showed you. That's the right idea. Once you get rolling on it, you should be able to put one tuck right under the other and it should stay there. You're sort of going left to right. I mean, right to left. I always go left to right.
Yeah, I just doubled back on this.
Just for aesthetics, so I'm not worrying too much about it. The water evaporated out of the wood and the plank shrank up. Now you have cracks all down the seams. And so if I paint it, it's gonna look like it's all cracked up. Get it tight so I can paint it and it won't look like it's just made out of a pile of boards. A little bit of a hiccup. These rafters, since I cut the tops on an arc, they are now longer on the top than they are on the bottom. And the plywood I have is 4 feet wide and I need to go 12 feet across. I need to now trim the ends of these because now they're longer than 12 feet. And you want a little bit of overhang on your roof. You're gonna mark 2 inches off the end.
Why is the string so far above these rafters here?
I guess it's got a big dip in the roof.
A really big dip. It's in the deck, it's not in the...
Not in the rafters. The boat is like falling in half. It's fixable. I always try to pick the best of conditions to do the sketchiest of things. So I made sure to wait till a day where it was raining, freezing cold to stand on the washboard of this boat with a circular saw. Wish me luck. And those cuts are about as straight as a circle. Hopefully you won't be able to see it from where I'm standing. We're gonna keep trucking. So one of the best and worst things about DIYing everything is that when there's something sketchy to do, there's really nobody there to tell you not to do it. The problem is though, when there's something sketchy to do, there's nobody there to tell you not to do it. You gotta at least try to put one piece of plywood up here. Not even sure exactly how I'm gonna get it up here, but we're gonna try. All right, we got it up one level, we gotta get it up another level. All right, we're very close. Oh, it's freaking nailing. Oh my God, this is very sketchy. Wow, that little breeze really catches that wood, huh? Come on. Come on, bro. Get out of here. Freaking nail. Everything is fighting me. Trying to put wood on the roof today may be a bit of a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of process. On the other hand, it just needs to get done. It may just be what needs to happen. This weather's killing me. Finally got this little gap in the rain today. And the problem is, if I don't put the roofing on now, I'm gonna have to wait till this plywood gets wet and then dries out again, which could be a while because all day tomorrow it's supposed to rain bad. It's a good chance I'm gonna be here a little later tonight trying to get this roll roofing on, which I've never done before. Can't be that hard, it's just one big shingle, right? I would not have wanted to buy plywood any thinner than this. This stuff is junk. Any thinner, it would just like curl up into like a tube, I think. Way more than I bargained for. All because I couldn't stand just standing in a freaking sea container under a tent. Had to complicate it. You all better be grateful that this is not a how-to channel. Maybe it should be, we can just screw it up together. Y'all better come buy crabs and t-shirts out of this thing. So this wasn't a complete waste. This is gonna be the coolest, most mediocre crab stand on all of Furnace Branch Road. Y'all better come buy some crabs out of this thing, man. This is a lot of work. I hope people enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the idea of it. I enjoy building it. I like projects, but this one's a little bigger than I anticipated. Guess who I have to blame for that? Definitely gonna be worth it, I think. Plywood is on roof. Not bad, a little sketchy. Really not that sketchy. The only sketchy thing is that the plywood's not real thick, but I mean, it's not gonna matter. Nobody's gonna be up here. Nobody should be up here, at least.
Pull it up the hill a little bit. You're going down.
We got the roll roofing down before it started to rain again, so I need some more adhesive. I'm learning hard lessons in roll roofing. At least now the plywood will be relatively dry and I can go get what I need. And kind of starting to shape up a little bit. About nicer than the boat I actually crab out of at this point. The roof certainly is. The freaking floor looks nice too. I just gotta paint this entire boat. If we get a stretch of nice weather next week, everything I own is getting paint. When it comes to roll roofing, I didn't realize that the stuff that's twice as expensive just has this lick and stick tape on there. This stuff doesn't. So then you have to buy tar and all this other crap and spread all that out. Now I'm wishing I would have just spent double the money per roll. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I just thought it was cheaper. Hopefully this doesn't just fly off the boat when we try to truck this down to the crab stand. Finally starting to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel. Once I can get some paint on this thing, it's gonna make a world of difference. Change sometimes is just nice to see. Roof's done, floor's done. Those are the two major big building projects. The only thing I don't like more than painting is sand. But I don't think this thing's gonna look like the freaking Taj Mahal. So probably not gonna spend too much time sanding, to be honest with you. The wear and tear she's experienced in the past few years is paintable. In order to make it accessible is to essentially dig a Dora Lynn shaped hole. It's not very deep, just a little tiny bit of a grade, and then set the boat down in there. So basically you can just walk right into the boat. In order to do that, I guess I need to remove the running gear. Probably don't need to, but I mean, who wouldn't want this prop for like a lawn room? It's pretty mint. I don't know why I thought this was gonna come right off. I should have known better. I might need a bigger hammer. Actually, this is not a very big hammer for this job. I really appreciate all you guys watching. I really do. So I don't know where you guys came from or how you guys found me on YouTube, but if you didn't know, I started off on TikTok and I started making videos like 3 years ago because I've always been a crab fisherman and I wanted to start selling my own crabs. I didn't have any money and I didn't really have any resource or anything like that. And I was trying to figure out how to set my product kind of apart from other people that have all the money, all the advertising, big stores and all that. So I was like, well, you know what? There's crab places everywhere and the crab market is flooded. But most of those crab places are owned by people that are a little too old school for their own good. It made the internet a wide open market for crab things. I always say be the biggest fish in the smallest pond. So I just decided that I was gonna start cranking out crabbing content, use it to build a customer base to be able to sell my crabs. Kind of turned into a lot more than that. Kind of with all the uncertainties of TikTok and short form videos, I decided I really wanted to try to switch over to YouTube. I'm sure some of you found me from TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. I'm sure there's also a lot of you that have just seen me on YouTube. I appreciate everybody's patience because I'm not a YouTuber. I mean, I guess I am technically, but I am still trying to figure this stuff out. And your feedback, it doesn't go unnoticed. I'm also still essentially doing 3 full-time jobs, so. Look at that, that never happens. Usually these things are so stuck, you gotta like completely beat the crap out of the shaft to get them to come out. Wait a second. Dude, there's 5,200 on this. Somebody literally 5,200'd the prop on. That means they used a tube of adhesive. That's not right. They really just squeeze the tube of caulk on here, put the prop on, and then prayed it held. Gotta do what you gotta do, man. All right, I'm gonna try to pull this piece off because this thing's actually worth some money. This thing holds the cutlass bearing, which keeps the shaft from moving, but these little jokers are like a few $100 new, if I had to guess. Oh my God, it's just lagged in there. That's awesome. Look at that, got 4 nice big stainless lags. I'm making my money back already. Be for sale, you can buy it. 1.5-inch shaft, I think. This braided fishing line on here too. That's the #1 killer for cutlass bearings right there. This stuff is so gnarly that it will actually eat into the stainless steel shaft if you let it. If it's on there for a really long time and there's something like holding that tight while the shaft rotates, that braided line will actually somehow wear into the metal. Holy crap, the whole shaft's coming out. I guess we're getting the whole shaft. There's the gasket. I'll sell that cheap. It needs a little TLC. Oh man, the cutlass bearing's a little seized up. Problem is this rudder is in the way, but I think we have the technology to fix that problem. Shoot. Nailed it. Something's sizzling. Ooh. Wow, look at that. That's a lot of stainless right there, buddy. It's actually pretty cool. That thing's worth something. All right, we got some lawn art, and we got a shaft, so all that stuff's for sale. Make me an offer. Lindsay's gonna love it. I promise. I'll add it to my collection of props. We even got some plate steel. This is good. A big piece of stainless, that'd be good for something. So that's where the shaft goes up through and then connects to the engine. Previously, went up through and connected to the engine. Look at that. There's an old white clam, soft shell clam up in there. This thing right here is like an old school water pickup. It's a brass pipe, I believe, and that little elbow is like 30 bucks nowadays. I think it's just spinning. It may stay. It may just live there now. The other thing I'm gonna try to get off is this, which is the keel cooler, which is like a radiator. Essentially, it's an old school boat radiator, but they're made out of like brass, I think, and nothing hits like scrap money. $1 you spend from money you got from scrap and metal feels like $10 because it feels like free money. In reality, it's not. There's gonna be people out there that agree with me. You know what I'm talking about. These stainless. Brass hardware is very expensive as well. Oh, there's not much holding this thing on, actually. Made it another tool, a bigger hammer. All right, it's already leaking. Ooh, look at all that. Oh yeah, probably full of liquid. Oh boy, it's about to go. It's about to go. Oh no, bending. Not what I want. Oh God. All right, good enough. Oh my gosh. There was no coolant left in that. It was straight water there. All right, we got a good keel cooler. We're making our money back. We can sell this on Facebook. In all of my infinite wisdom, I already replaced the entire ceiling in the boat before I took this out. I don't know why. That was really dumb. Now we're driving the struggle bus here. In order to remove this, it's kind of a careful process that takes a lot of care, and you want to be very, very gentle. This is definitely one of my more favorite hammers. Oh, wow, look at that. The funny thing is, I didn't even cut down the one side, but that's where the plank ended, so the whole thing just fell out. Look at that. See, I was never getting those out. It does pain me to cut holes in the bottom of this boat, but it's gotta drain somehow, because it's just gonna be sitting. More holes, better drainage. That's for sale too, by the way. I like this little brass grate too. I'm gonna take that with me. Almost sank the boat though when I got it home. There was literally a hose on the other side of this that was just like sitting over the hole. And nothing but like barnacles holding it together, essentially. We were that hose falling off from sinking this boat on the way home. I didn't even know it until we got back. Nice. Look at that, brass through hull. I mean, it was so plugged up with growth from sitting for so long that it didn't look like that hose would have made much of a difference anyway, but at least we got it off. We're scrap money, we're making millions. You know what's like my favorite part about these hoodies that we came out with is that they don't have any strings. So it's like one less thing to get caught in your chainsaw. There it goes. Again, it fell out right where the plank is. That's the funny thing. There's nothing holding these planks together really except for each other. They swell and they hold each other together. Obviously there's fasteners in the top and bottom, but in between the planks, hopes and dreams, baby. That's what crab boats are built on. That's also what sinks them. Well, we got the keel cooler recovered, so you know, that's like 150 bucks back in my pocket. You can see up under here my beautiful flooring job. I think that I'm just gonna keep the keel cooler because I tell you what, every time I sell something like that, I end up needing it like a week later. But if I don't sell something like that, then I'll hold on to it for years, get rid of it, and then need it a week later. In my book, it's better just to never get rid of anything. So I tried to fill the other side, all the cracks, and failed miserably because all the stuff fell out. So I got some waterproof caulk. I'm gonna try to fill the little holes on this side. Crack filling. Take two. We were getting down to the wire on this boat and there's still a lot to be done. So I have AJ here helping me out. He's putting down some roofing tar and he's got it pretty much everywhere. AJ, let me see your hands. You can't, the thing stuck to it. How did you manage to get completely covered in that?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't either. It's honestly impressive. Impeccable work though. Looks like it'll last at least a couple years. I think I learned a valuable lesson when doing this roof because I spent a lot of time on it and it looks terrible and it's already leaking. I tried to cheap out on things and ended up basically spending twice as much time trying to patch together a bunch of junk that's already failing, and I literally haven't even moved the boat to where it needs to be yet. It's all wavy, not really sealed right, and it's tearing, and looks like a roof that's 30 years old that's being patched, but it's brand new. The bottom should be red by the end of the day. We'll see. Hey, that's up to AJ. how much it gets done. Then we'll paint the rest of it. The rest of it needs primed and painted. We'll paint the top side and I was sanding the stern of this boat. And I was just gonna paint it, but underneath all that, like 10 layers of paint, probably most of it lead, there's this beautiful mahogany stern. And I'm thinking that maybe I'm gonna varnish it, paint the name on it really pretty, and have a place for people to like take pictures and stuff like that. Working dark to dark, we have not had many days where it was not pouring down rain. If you're in the boating world, then you know that if you can't fix it with thickened epoxy, it's not fixable. This is close enough to fair and compound for my needs. It's starting to come together. It's very, very encouraging for me to see this thing kind of starting to come to life. Done a lot of sanding, a lot of painting, a lot of repair and construction. And I'm still not near done yet, but it is getting really close. It's really starting to look like something. Pretty fancy for a glorified freaking fruit stand, if you ask me. That's pretty dang close, isn't it?
Yep. I don't think I'd even worry about taking it out. I think I'd just screw it in there and thicken all over it.
Problem with you is that you're usually right. Second coat going on. Really does look like a fruit stand now. The old watermelon stand, huh? Hey, caulk and paint. It'll make her what she ain't, right? I'm counting on that working today. Do you ever wake up and think, how did I get here? And why am I doing what I'm doing? And am I crazy for continuing to wake up and do the exact same thing? Hey, this is the time of year where I have those thoughts a lot. They're usually some of the earlier thoughts in the day, too. I understand that there's definitely gonna be a lot of you guys that are gonna be disappointed in me for using caulk on this beautiful wooden boat. Fact of the matter is, this boat does not actually have to go back in the water. Caulk it is. It's the easiest way to fill these gaps. I'm taking a new strategy now because my last one did not work. Where now I am priming the boat and then caulking, and then I'm gonna prime it again and then paint it. The cycle goes like this. I find the project, I get obsessed, do the research, acquire the project, work on the project, burn out on the project, find new project, and then have to gruelingly grind through the last of this project to complete it, to be able to start the next project, get obsessed, do the research, acquire project. You see what I'm saying? That's also how you end up with like 15 boats and a bunch of project trucks and a bunch of very complicated, labor-intensive, money-hungry projects that sometimes just don't always get done. Oh, I'm falling. That mentality makes other people view me as a very productive member of society. A lot of times it makes me view myself as somebody that can never really finish anything. And I usually do finish things, but it's usually not on the terms that I like. The satisfaction of accomplishing the task just hits different when you kind of had to force yourself to do it. A lot of times it's gratifying, but it's not exactly the way I envisioned it in the obsession stage of the flow chart. You take on the next project and you swear you're gonna do it different. Happens all over again. Live in this cycle of never really being quite satisfied with yourself and the things that you're accomplishing. Life is all about compromise. You can't always have your cake and eat it too. That's what they say, at least. Thank God for Total Boat, because this painting project would have honestly just been kind of a disaster if I had to go and buy things or order them on my own. And I know the materials that like I would think I should use, but I can literally just email them and tell them what the project is and send them a picture. A real life human, not even like some kind of AI weirdo bot. It's actually a real person. They just email you back and say, hey, we have this. It'll probably work for what you need. And then they send it over. It's great. I've got paint scrapers that I'm improperly using. I did not anticipate the floor being the color of pumpkins, but it's too late now. I thought that this was just like a clear varnish. Must have misread the can. It's orange now. Kind of does look like a fruit stand. Maybe I'll have to sell pumpkins and Christmas trees out of it. I don't like it. Too late for that now. It is what it is. I'm once again undoing work that I just did. I filled all these cracks with caulk yesterday. It's like my third attempt at sealing the boards on this boat. I came back today and the caulk was like blowing out of the joints. It looks terrible. So I'm scraping the caulk, try to ferret it out and paint over it again. I'm not really sure what to do, to be honest. This project has been a lot of high highs and low lows, minus the high highs. Keep thinking I'm right there, and then things I do don't work out. It turns out that a Brillo pad and lacquer thinner. Kind of acts like sandpaper for wet caulk. I found that one out the hard way, so you don't have to. All right, 77 coats of primer, scraped off, put on. Hey man, it's Luke.
Hey, what's going on, Luke?
Hey, I'm wondering about that crane. Be available maybe the end of next week.
Yeah, we can do that.
You know, I got this boat. It's like a 40-foot wood boat, and I'm gonna have it set next to a hole that it needs to be put into.
Is it there already?
It's not there yet. I'm trying to get it put there early next week. You know, I'm just trying to get it set in the next week or so.
Give us a holler when you get the boat down there. We'll take a look at it.
All right, sounds good, man. I really appreciate it. See ya.
All right, see.
Yes. One of the final pieces of the puzzle. But this boat still needs to be finished, and then needs to get taken from here to Glen Burnie, and then needs to get picked up and put in a hole. Which sounds easy. Assure you, it's not been near as easy as I anticipated, at least. I gotta get back to painting. Finally gonna put a top coat on this thing. Try to get one more on here because it's supposed to rain for the next couple days again. And I hate painting. Truly does pay me to get rid of all the wood that I tore out of the boat. No self-respecting redneck would take it to the dump. He would just burn it. Look at that, they even got bed rails made out of the old stringers. Reduce, reuse, recycle. That does look like a nice bonfire, but it's been raining for the past month, so no luck there.
Off in the truck, bud.
That's what I'm saying, we'll get the insurance money. There's an OG shirt. Dylan, let me see that shirt real quick. Check that out, that's an OG Bakken Point Seafood shirt. I drew that picture on a piece of printer paper, and then the front logo, drew that on a bar napkin with crayons.
And I found it at Goodwill.
The benefit is that most of that stuff's probably gonna fall off the truck before they even get there, so less to unload. So I left all this rudder running gear would steer the boat. It's all homemade stuff. I left it in here, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna set the crab stand up when I get it up to the lot and placed. Once this boat leaves the marina, it's gonna be way, way harder to do anything to it. Trying to do everything I can think of here while I can. So this is the rudder post right here, or the rudder shaft, I guess. This is basically just a piece of prop shaft and a prop shaft coupler and a packing nut, which would be pretty much the same exact setup that you would have coming off of your transmission, but they turned it all around and they use it for steering. This is a log splitter cylinder from Tractor Supply. I know that because I have the exact same one in my other boat. Just have a hydraulic in and out, and when you steer the wheel or move the stick, it pushes or pulls fluid, moving that ram. And then there's some homemade linkage up, moves the rudder back and forth. There's also actually a really nice bearing in here. Ooh, it's falling apart. Can use some of these parts or sell them. For the most part, I just want to get this out of here. But there's also some nice stainless angle. It's stainless steel, and that's actually valuable. Sketchy. That looks like some stuff that I would build. Ooh. There it goes. This was the 5200 gasket. I think someone just squeezed a whole tube of 5200 down into the horn timber. And look, the perfect cast of a lag made out of 5200 that was like holding this thing in there. And when I pulled it up out of there, a piece of it shot out and like got me right in the neck. Lindsay's gonna think I got a hickey. The process for fixing problems really anywhere around here is to assess the problem, grab a measuring tape, and then walk around the yard until you find something that's gonna solve the problem. This particular problem, I have a very large hole in the gunnel of the boat. Instead of cutting all this out and taking a whole nother like day to fix this, and there's the same one on the other side, I just found this. It looks like it's about the right dimensions, and I'm gonna cut a piece and stick it over top of here and make it look like some kind of step. I used to do a lot of art, and if you have a flaw in something and you can't fix it, feature it, which I've kind of taken that to the extreme. It looks just like T111. Yes, even beveled the edges. She looks good. Problem solved. That's the perfect surface that will be completely impossible to get clean. Better than a hole. Have you seen it since I put the paint on it?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you see that?
When Ember stepped in paint.
Oh, I didn't. You saw it with the final paint on it? Like with the finished paint?
I can't remember. It
looks the same, doesn't it? I really want to get done today is painting some in the cabin, and I got to paint outside the cabin. Maybe you could give me a hand painting inside the cabin.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. How's it going in here, Lindsay?
Looks like crap.
Well, it's kind of supposed to, I guess.
It smells like fumes in here.
Oh, good. Well, windows are open. If you start feeling dizzy, then it's working.
Perfect.
Kind of a big moment, nothing crazy, but I'm gonna pull the tape off, and things always look so much different when you just pull the paint line tape. This is gonna be the first look of like what it's really gonna kind of look like as a finished product. I'm building suspense. Come on. Oh, not bad. Kind of looks good, honestly. Looks way better than the boat I'm actually working at. Lindsay's in there working hard. That's a crappy job. I wouldn't want to do that. Looks good though. Looking, ooh, almost kicked that over. We almost painted the floor too. Looks really good.
Oh, thank you.
Your office space, our office space.
Yes.
Essentially, the break room. There's a big step in the right direction. Pleased to see it come a long way, although it's hard to see until you can compare what it looked like and what it looks like now. I still have to move this thing from here up the highway to my yard and then get it set, which involves dangling 30 feet from a crane. There's a chance that that could all go horribly wrong and you'll never get to see the finished thing because it'll break and fall or I'll be in jail or something. So I just figure I'll give you a run around right now. I think it's technically 39 foot. Deltaville Dead Rise. So this is like the original crab boat here in Maryland and Virginia, like kind of the OG, most dead rise you could get. I think it was built in the early 80s or late 70s. I'll have to check on the title. Hopefully it's gonna work for what I need, which is a crab store, which is basically like also a sign. So when I was looking at trying to build a building at my lot to be able to sell crabs out of, right? I got a couple quotes and they were all like $250,000 to get a building. I don't know that a building is gonna make $250,000 difference in my business. So how can I test the kind of building structure theory without being $250,000 in debt? Bought this on Facebook Marketplace for $700. Being dumb and naive, I thought, oh, this is not near as bad as I thought until I took the floor out of it. And then I was like, holy crap, this thing is gonna be a full-time job project. So it won't actually float again. We're not taking it in the water. Really, originally what I wanted was to be able to have people come in the boat, to basically like cut a doorway and have people come in the boat and then they can be in here and get their crabs, you know, have a counter, whatever. In terms of liability and insurance, I tend to look past in my world because I'm an idiot that I now know I need to. I think what I'm gonna do now is basically just have me and my crew work out of this boat. So this will kind of be more like our space in here and the counter will be along here and then we'll help customers kind of, you know, down the boat. And I think that's just gonna allow me and my team a lot more freedom and space and privacy in terms of what we're doing and whatever, just so it's not just cramped and hectic, because that's one of the things I'm trying to get away from with my old system, which was just a lawn chair and a trailer, which worked totally fine. I'm still gonna have the trailer. It's gonna back up to there, and I'm sure we'll still have lawn chairs, but at least we got shade. And the reason doing this boat, not a building, is so that, you know, people can come and see it, you know, take pictures with it. It's kind of a landmark, and it's also like kind of the next chapter in this boat's history. Spent most of its life on Smith Island as a working crab and oyster boat. So it was literally left for dead in the marsh for the most part, enjoying its retirement in a way, you know, because they were gonna cut it up and burn it or just leave it probably. So, I mean, this is kind of the only way this boat gets to live on. I know a lot of people were kind of giving me a hard time about making this boat unusable, but it was unusable before. I mean, the boat still has a long way to come. I mean, this is basically the shell is done, and I still need to kind of come up with a system as to how I'm gonna help people along here, where I'm gonna put the counters, where I'm gonna put displays, all those kinds of things. Those are things that I didn't really want to do here because I wanted to see kind of how it places and looks up at the lot. It's better to kind of live in it a little bit and feel it out and see what you kind of need and then build things, in this case, to what you need. So that's my plan. I know it's not gonna look exactly like this, but this is kind of the overall gist of it. I mean, this is an idea that I've been looking for an excuse to execute, and whether it was going on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, I was gonna try it anyway. The fact that you guys are here to like kind of watch this thing come to life is pretty neat, because that's not what I was counting on when I first had this idea like years and years ago. And I wanted to like do a good job because I know so many of you guys are like invested in seeing this, invested in this project. So I was like, I can't let the people down. I can do good work, but I can also do like quick work. And this is a combination of both, where I had to compromise on certain things, but I'd spend a lot of time on other things. This is the most Waterman thing ever, right? I mean, you're using what you have to make something happen that you needed to make happen for your business. Pulling a $700 boat out of a burn pile and turning it into a crab stand instead of taking out a $250,000 loan seems to make a lot of sense, even though people are giving me a hard time about it. It's the lost art of repurposing. Hopefully I'll see you guys this summer. I'm excited to show it to you guys. It's definitely still an old crab boat at heart. It's a crab store, but that's just because I'm calling it one. I mean, it's still a crab boat. If you don't step back and just admire your project, then you ain't no crabber. You ain't no man either. You know what I mean? Every time you do a project, you gotta stand back and admire it a little bit.
Yes, you do.
By the time you get it done, you have a little bit of hatred for it because you spent so much time, money, energy, and sleepless nights like trying to make things perfect that you just didn't get right. Especially any artist can relate. By the end of the project, people are like, how could you sell it? They're like, oh, it's not that hard, dude. It's like there's a big part of you that never wants to see it again. It's D-Day. It's the day that the Dora Lynn gets taken up the road to the crab lot. We're gonna take it up there, have it blocked, and then Friday I got a crane coming to do the rest of the job. But there's definitely some things that could go wrong here. My biggest concern, honestly, is that the roof is gonna blow off. Could also get pulled over. Everything's kosher, but I just wouldn't want to have to deal with that. I could also fall off the trailer, or we could put a bunk through the bottom. The boat could break in half. By the time we get there, all the seams may be split. I know I may be catastrophizing a little bit, but here they come with the trailer. You remember these guys. So we're gonna put the big boat on the big trailer. The big trailer feet. Yep, I'll put the blocks in the truck. There we go, we gotta get in the truck, follow him down. I am a little nervous. I wish I could be right behind him. I think I can catch up to him though. I can't imagine they're gonna be going that fast. I am really excited to finally see this boat headed up the road. So step 1 was finding a boat. Step 2 was getting the boat home. That's not great. Oh. Step 3 was gutting the boat. Oh, regret. Step 4 was rebuilding the boat. And step 5 is getting it up there. Step 6 is getting it placed in the actual spot, because that is gonna involve a crane. I am really excited, but it's just in my nature to be worried and catastrophize certain scenarios and kind of be constantly calculating risk. Sometimes that leads to a little bit of anxiety for me. I know it's in good hands. I got good friends here to help me, and Bird, I trust him with my hard work here. We'll see. Best case scenario, we make it. Worst case scenario, oh boy. I wish I could get behind it, but I'm honestly in a weird position where, like, you know, they have to go pretty slow. There's always a lot of traffic around here, so like I try to get over and get behind him, but I'm like back in traffic all the way up. I guess I'm just gonna stay in front of him so he knows exactly where to go. I don't want him to get lost with that thing. They said that it got a little squirrely there for a second. I think they backed off the heat a little bit, and we're all good. This thing is breaking some necks on the way down the road too, because this is not a common sight here on the Western Shore where I'm at. On the Eastern Shore, this is an everyday practice. People are used to seeing big work boats go down the road on trailers, but over this side of the bridge, they don't see it that often. It's definitely turning heads. All right, we made it up to the lot. First step is over with.
You guys right next to it?
Yep, that would be great. If we could just get it parallel to the ditch right there.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Down the road would have been a nice.
Oh man, I know. All right, she's here actually. That is the first and only time that boat's ever done 50 miles an hour. Oof, I have done it now. We are past the point of commitment. Looks a lot bigger on this lot than it did at the marina. Instant sense of relief. Now we just got to get the boat into its position, which is going to be very interesting, and it's not going to be cheap. The crane guy is running ahead of schedule, so we are rushing down to the yard. It's either going to be the coolest thing I've ever done or one of the stupidest things I've ever done, or both. Crew's all here. We got a crane. Morning. Morning. You ready to drop this boat on the ground? That's right. Shout out Stevens Trucking for being the only people crazy enough to let me try to pick up a boat with a crane. That's how you know some stuff's about to go down. Everybody's standing around with a cup of coffee.
The big eye hook on the roof.
Yeah, there's a big wind-up thing on the back too. Spins the propeller. This is actually kind of a big day for me. There's been a lot of time, money, effort, and thought put into today, and coordination. I've worked pretty hard for all this to come together today. I think they're gonna put 2 slings on the boat and then a spreader bar up top so that the slings don't come to a point and crush the roof. They're probably gonna test lift it a few times, then we're gonna place it where it needs to be placed. Easy as that, right?
I mean, you got enough people here, we could have picked this up together.
Oh yeah, we just roll it into the ditch. It's creaking. I can hear this boat creaking away. The anticipation is killing me. We got like 50-foot of rigging to this thing with spreaders and whatever else. I also hope it doesn't blow the roof apart over there. She's floating just in the air. Man, AJ's on the clock. I should have left him back there with something to do. I'm certainly building some suspense here. So you guys have all known me the longest. What do you guys think about this?
It's the best, worst idea you've had in a long time. Yeah, I don't
In a long time, you mean this week?
I don't really have many words. I'm trying to see how it's going to play out. We're taking bets how long it's going to take to get bullet holes, graffiti, or a squatter on it. I think all through happened tonight.
If it's going to happen, we may as well beat them to it. So we should probably just graffiti it and shoot some holes of our own in it. Attracted quite the crowd to watch this boat fall on its side. Or go in the hole, who knows? Even the dog is watching.
Oh,
the big guns are here. When you see a guy like that show up to a job site, something's about to get done. She's up. There's a lot, like the whole way to the boat's all those stern stands. Yeah, right. You gotta get the stand out for the back.
It's not just gonna like lift off.
No, they're putting it. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, that was a little bit of a precarious situation.
I'm trying to get the boat level, like to sit.
Keep coming. The cockpit floor's got to be level. Otherwise, all the crabs will be running to the back.
I can't be chasing them around now.
Inside floor level.
Yeah, inside floor level, which may be tricky because I put the floor in, so who's to say that it was level when I put it in, you know? That looks pretty good, actually. That ain't bad.
Yeah, that one's same. Yeah. Take her back down a little. All right, hold that.
The only thing harder than getting this thing in the hole is going to be getting it back out.
Why would you get it back out?
I hope it never has to come out.
Bro, that's...
Oh, Jesus, I can't even lie. I can't even know that. All right, I think we're pretty much on the ground, pretty much where we're going to be at. Well, yeah, we'll just lift the level up a little on that side and it'll be fine, right? Yeah. Had some Korean fella put the floor in, so I don't know. A metric level's a little different. You don't want to feel like you're in an actual boat, like in the water here. That would be bad. Yep, it's crazy to see. Adam, you the Charlie Daniels of a rented crane, huh? I don't even know how to feel. I'm relieved, but it's also just crazy to see the boat like actually here. I've been working on it for so long that it's weird to see it in its spot. Thanks for coming down, Wayne. I appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime.
Big day for me, so appreciate you coming down.
It's good that your boat floats.
Yeah, right. I bought this boat in February, brought it home mid-February. It's now the 2nd or 3rd week of April. Pretty quick turnaround time. Finally got all the grading done, and this thing looks awesome. I'm super pumped for everybody else to come see this. Jake is here right now, and we were working on the lettering. Some cute lettering on the side of it. Bocking Point Seafood, maybe the original name of the boat, Dora Lynn, something like that. But tell you what, I'm super pumped. Man, does it ever look good. I really am pleased with it. So basically, I'll have my refrigerator trailer here to the stern. Probably cut the stern out so we can get right in and out. I'll have the counter here, somewhere I'm selling shirts. I'm not sure, I don't exactly know how it's gonna work out, but me and my crew will be in here selling crabs to you on the other side.
That's right.
I really appreciate everybody that's really excited to come see this thing. I'm just asking people, please don't come onto the property right now, because I want to square it away when we kind of do the big reveals. I appreciate it. I will see you guys soon.